Friends, Yves Saint Laurent recently released new colorways for their Couture mini clutch quads. This is in Captivating Dunes, number 720. The other two were, I think, Safari Sunrise, Unexplored Garden, which I have my radar hard on, and one other. I was lucky enough to purchase this quad from Macy's while they were running a brief beauty sale at the time and got it down to $57.80 because these little guys retail for a whopping $68, and it is a lot of money, but it is luxury beauty. I'm a simp for it. What can I say? I did see Safari Sunrise in Sephora and it looked quite light. I should have taken a picture of it because the associate was nice enough to open the box for me since they didn't have a tester. Wasn't captivated in that moment. I could change my mind, but I would love to swatch it because Captivating Dunes definitely enchanted me more because of the cooler tones and why I set up my makeup in this way. I have the Prada foundation on, MN60, the Isamaya stick in Maple, which is of a cooler tone, but also slapped on VBB's Playground Cheeky Posh blush stick. This is, like, as someone has said in my recent VBB video, the default blush color. It goes with everything. What can I say? And I slapped on Prada Beauty's Hyper Matte in Marron, I think it's B13, with Isamaya's lip liner in Liberica. So we have the cool tone set up. 100 Stora dolls is on standby for comparison, as well as Charlotte Tilbury's Beautifying Trends 9-pan palette in super neutral. But a few retail details. Again, I purchased my palette from Macy's. I believe this is available at Nordstrom, Yves Saint Laurent online, and I believe other beauty luxury retailers online. 24 months suggested shelf life and made in Italy. How many grams of product? 4 grams total, so that amounts to 1 gram per pan. And I was disappointed in finding out when visiting the product page that there was no formula breakdown in the photo carousel. Usually YSL includes what you see here, an illustration of the different finishes in their quads, but for some reason they didn't have that for the new releases, and now I just have to rely on my own limited knowledge in trying to figure out if it's the same metallic pop, a newer metallic pop, a new formula entirely. And I broke down the YSL formula in this video if you want to check it out. You know, we could guess together. Here is a close-up of the powders and you can just see that pearl finish. This actually is hard to see because of my light. The sparkle is insane, and the embossing takes on the same chevron design as the compact cover. Let's go in with this first. What feels like it could be a satin, is actually very creamy. Oh, that's pretty. We're looking at a soft taupe, easily could be contouring for my crease all over the lid, just for that soft haze effect. Can't wait to swatch this. Ooh, look at that sparkle. Okay, already acquainted with this formula from YSL. Feels like an overlay shade where it has a translucent base and that reflective finish is for layering. Nice pickup. I have to say, not as flaky as what's found in other YSL quads. And I would classify this as their metallic pop. It could be a shimmer pop. I don't know for sure. What feels like a black brown matte. This is going to be our smoke out color, defining color, super smooth on the blend, and the texture is just beautiful. And lastly, what I think might be a metallic pop, but this is giving color, like a strong color base and beautiful shine. Ooh, yes. This might be, I don't know, I would consider this a newer formula to the mini clutch lineup, but you could let me know down below what you think. This reminds me of the shade that exists in Overbrune, that like strong metallic color with, look at that, insane shine that you can wear solo. You don't necessarily have to have another color underneath. You can certainly layer this over that metallic. You could layer this reflective shade over any of the shadows in the clutch, but you could wear this by itself. You could pair with the dark color or the medium taupe, however you want to layer, which is exactly what we're going to do in this demo. But before we begin, I wanted to quickly compare Captivating Dunes to 100 Stora dolls. This is Stora dolls here, and I think Stora dolls has a little more warmth to it, surprisingly, and I'll be happy to swatch all the way through. We could start here with this metallic shade that feels a lot softer than the one in Captivating Dunes. It doesn't have the same amount of grip, and it takes on the same characteristics as the reflective shade, but it's not as shiny. It doesn't have that same stick. I think there has been an improvement here in the new releases. What do you think? Let me know down below. Now we have this softer ivory beige, which is more of a satin finish on the skin. More of like a neutral chocolate. There's definitely more depth of color from the Captivating Dunes quad. And lastly, we have this satin taupe. I kind of want to swatch it near the taupe where I have it at the top, but this has a little more depth of color. This has what appears to be more of a satin finish, but I don't know. Captivating Dunes is pretty. And shout out to Deborah, had already told me that I was going to adore Captivating Dunes. So I was highly anticipating this quad. Can't wait to finally dive in. And I wanted to quickly swatch a few of the sparkly shades from Charlotte's palette. The main difference that I recognize is that Charlotte's palette either has the matte shades or like the sparkly arcly shades. There's really not a satin formula in the 9 pans. I only have 3 of them, so you can let me know if the other 3 do. But this one here, I think, reminds me kind of what's happening here in Captivating Dunes. Let me see. This kind of reminds me of what's happening here. This has a similar amount of shine as what's found in that reflective topper shade. We can see what's happening with this center bronze. The center bronze shade, okay, kind of similar. Might I say that this is a softer texture from the YSL than was found in the Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte Tilbury is pretty, but there's something special about this formula here. Okay, now that we have those details and swatches out the way, it's time for you to come in a little closer for this eye demo. Applying my Suku, officially the Suku Eye Enhancing Primer. I recently saw Lisa's video in her explaining Desert Gleam, and she used the NARS. I feel like I gotta get back into NARS, not just for their primer, but might revisit their concealer, though I might try their primer once I finish the Suku one. And I don't have any brushes. What is happening? Let's check out how this taupe shade appears on what I consider myself to be medium skin tone as the first contour shade. Oh, that's lovely. Already it's giving a beautiful shadow effect through my crease, enough where I can keep it on the crease or pull it over the entire lid just to have, again, that soft smoky effect that already I can wear on its own. If I wanted to keep it matte with this arrangement on the rest of the face and lip, also brows, done. But this is something you can do with the YSL quads that I think makes it hugely versatile. And yes, it is expensive, but there's something about a beautifully edited quad with, I would say, high-performing shadows for a luxury brand, specifically Captivating Dunes. Because I don't have all the quads, I do rank some higher than others depending on the shadow's performance, and I do feel that there are some in quads that perform better in others. Captivating Dunes 720, just from the swatches alone, puts it up there in my opinion. Something you can do to kind of pizzazz it up without having to actually apply maybe the metallic is take a little bit of that reflective color and just lightly tap it over the lid so it has like that beautiful twinkle wet effect on top of that taupe color, and that brightens the lid. It gives it a little more reflectivity. You can see how that adds just beautiful shine, or you can keep it on the inner corner as the exclusive highlight effect. You don't necessarily have to place it on the entire lid, but I just wanted to demonstrate that because the formula here has really nice stick, whereas in other quads, it can feel quite flaky. and feels like it's just gonna flake off my skin, where this feels like it's gonna stay. Tapping that on the inner corner as well, if you want a little bit of that highlight effect. If you wish to incorporate the dark brown, we can do so in just a lightweight manner by sweeping it across the lash line, or you can take a much smaller brush than the one I'm using now, right? That will be a lot more precise, but I just wanted a bit of haze to appear on my lash line. Sometimes I like a kind of thicker line effect when it comes to shadow application. I'm stamping it, but also diffusing the edges so it blends well into the sparkly arcly shade. And there you have a little bit of some intensity across the lash line. And already I think that's a beautiful eye. I actually loved how the taupe looked on its own. Not gonna lie, I love matte looks. And when the taupe tone is just right for my complexion, it's quite impactful without doing a ton. We must go in with this beautiful taupe metallic, starting on the base of the lash line by tapping and taking the color up through the crease, but just staying at the very edges, because I do want to see what this does on its own. And it does have more of like a silvery finish to my eyes, which I don't mind. I can apply that darker brown for a little bit of smoke effect, and that's probably what I'll follow up with. Pulling that metallic through the crease, and why not? Let's take a little bit here through the lower lash line. Now gently tapping here on the outer corner, because these shadows are beautifully soft where you don't actually have to over manipulate the powders. Just a few taps and there, you're done. Because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, I do like to take my shadow out a little further so it has more of a distinct kind of hazy point, if you will. Taking a little bit more here through the crease just for some added definition. And you could follow up with that same shadow on the lower lash line. If anything, I would take a smaller brush and nudge that color here on the outer quarter, not taking it all the way, and maybe kind of refine the placement on the very outer edge of my lid with that same smaller brush. All right, let's slap on some lashes and I'll be right back. And here are the final looks using Captivating Dunes for the first time. And this quad has easily climbed its way to one of my top YSL Couture Mini Clutch faves. And as you know, or if you don't, I tend to gravitate towards the warmer shades, the terracottas, the rosy browns. But when the stars align for an impeccable cool shadow moment, I embrace it entirely. And this is exactly what happens with these shades. I think mostly why I adore it so much is the ease of use and the fact that I don't have to do so much, where it can be as what I consider the default shade from Playground. These are default colors for me in terms of achieving the right amount of shading through the crease and having the option of adding sparkle in various degrees. It could be the lightest tap and just enough for that barely there reflective high shine finish, or it could be a lot more as I demonstrated on the first eye, or I can just rely solely on the metallic if I wanted. And the dark brown is the perfect amount of smoke if I wanted to just edge out the outer lid or invite a little bit of intensity along the lash line. Again, so many possibilities, but my goodness, if this is in any way, shape, or form, if this is in any way a preview of what Unexplored Garden will give, or even Safari Sunrise, despite the colors appearing too soft in my opinion to make an impact on my skin tone, like how Captivating Dunes is doing now, maybe I'll give it a shot, because I also have my eye on the summer limited release from YSL that appears to be similar in color. And then the fourth quad, I think there were 4 colorways that released in all. There was another one that kind of looked like Safari Sunrise, and that's why I'm on the fence about it. But Captivating Dunes, you have my green light. If you are thinking about getting this quad, maybe wait until there's another sale going on at a popular beauty retail space like Macy's had held. Nordstrom sometimes puts YSL on sale, and on the actual YSL site sometimes they hold sales. This is not limited edition, I don't believe. I could confirm in the comments below, but this is a beautiful color story. Again, it's just simple. It's simple but effective. The shadow quality is impeccable. They're soft, they're easy to apply, pick up, and blend. And I think that's the appeal behind these quads, is that I don't have to think hard about it. I just have 4 shadows in front of me, beautifully soft textures. They look beautiful in my skin tone, and the final look, in my opinion, I mean, I think I look nice. And stay tuned, as I would like to film a short using Captivating Dunes and maybe a satin Kajal liner from VBB. I'm thinking about maybe setting up the look with Cocoa. Maybe. Okay, let's take a look. Nope, that's the wrong side, Alicia. Cocoa definitely will look beautiful with Captivating Dunes. I'm also thinking about Cinnamon. Maybe Cinnamon is a little too warm. You know, surprisingly, Cinnamon will go well with Stora dolls. That could be another demo in the works. But stay tuned for the short that's coming up that will probably be posted before this longer form video. And let me know down below if you already grabbed Captivating Dunes. What do you think about the shadows? If you think they're like a little bit of an upgrade from the older YSL quads, I would love to know. And if you made it this far, make sure you like this video by clicking the thumbs up. It helps me tremendously in recommending more of my videos to you and also to other beauty enthusiasts like yourself. Consider subscribing, because I am on the way of uploading more, and you'll know when those drop, especially when you click that notification bell. If you would like to watch my recent VBB haul where I visited Blue Mercury and went a little crazy, not too much, you could click that video here. I'll make sure to see you over in that video, down in the comments for this one, and on here again next time.